talking about how beautiful it is for women to maybe just step aside and prioritize their family and spend time with their children and raise their family. And that's what I was just trying to speak love about.
Do you know that companies with corporate boards that include a higher percentage of women are more profitable than companies with corporate boards that are all men? Did you know that companies have a C-suite office that includes women, at least one woman or multiple women? Those C-suite executive offices tend to be more resilient and more productive and more innovative than C-suites of all men. Did you know that police forces, when they include women, even just one woman, have better safety outcomes for both the community and for the officers themselves? Did you know that female doctors of nearly every specialty have better outcomes for their patients than male doctors? Did you also know that when women have access to financial resources, they're far more generous than their male counterparts, both to philanthropies and to their friends, family, and community? As it turns out, women were meant to co-create life on planet Earth. Women were involved, life actually gets better for everyone. What you're advocating for here isn't love. What you're advocating for is a world that is far less generous, less productive, less safe. We need better systems, procedures, and protocols for parents to be able to bond and care for their children. But the idea that the solution to this problem is that exclusively women should leave the workforce lacks imagination for the thriving that is possible when we make sure to include women at every step. Worst of all, what you're suggesting is that the people who are closest to the intimate knowledge and wisdom of what it takes to create and sustain life on Earth, mothers, should be excluded from the places where decisions are being made.
As someone who spent 12 years as a tradwife, like for real, not just like a performative tradwife, but like a real one, I agree with this 1,000%. And I actually regret doing that. I have a lot of regret about it. For the main reason I have regret about it is because I realized I spent those years at home with my kids, and instead of being at the tables where decisions were being made. And as a result, I'm bringing my children into a world that is honestly so hostile to human life. But had I been spending that time in places where decisions were being made, I actually could have made the world better for them. One of the most dangerous ideas I come across, that women should go back home and raise the kids. Now, it's true that we need to have reform about what it looks like to take care of children. I have ideas about that. But this idea that we should relegate one half of the population, and it should always be women, to take care of children is dangerous for everyone. Because as it turns out, having women in the workforce makes the entire world a better place, a safer place for everyone, men, women, children, queer people, everyone. Someone wants to choose being a tradwife, I'm not against it. But I will say this idea that every single mother should do that is not only a bad idea, an ignorant one, but a dangerous idea. Dangerous for all of us.
We're gaslit into staying for a very strategic purpose. The messaging around marriage, particularly in the last 100 years in the United States of America, marriage is hard, marriage is a struggle, you've got to stick it out even if there are problems, was specifically made so that there would be a free labor force for the economy to flow on. Most of human history, human beings just work together. Men or women, children, young and old. To accomplish the needs of the group, everyone worked together in one form or another. We were agrarian, we were hunter-gatherers. Even in the United States of America, most of history, we were an agrarian society. Of course, we heavily and almost exclusively relied on free labor to supply our economy. In the 1860s, we have the end of slavery. And then around the turn of the century, we have the beginning of full-blown industrialism. For the first time, men are leaving their homes to go work outside the home. Men and women and families are no longer working side by side. Meanwhile, we've abolished official free labor, but we still have so many systems that allow for almost free or wildly underpaid cheap labor coming from Black and brown Americans. Care and consideration are still the absolute backbone of what keeps humanity going, and we need someone to do that for free so that men continue to go to work and be blind drones for industrialism and capitalism. Because if women get free and start leaving marriages, this is going to make men very upset. Suddenly you have a society that actually has to reckon and reconcile with those care tasks and activities that keep human beings alive and keep our entire country going, which is the reckoning we're doing right now. It's very important to note that the propaganda toward men being providers and women staying at home happens around the same time that Black people are fully being integrated into society, getting voting rights, thriving financially. We suddenly have the loss of free and cheap labor, and the United States needs free labor to thrive. Those two things correspond. 1940s, 50s, and 60s, as the civil rights movement is occurring, as Black people are beginning to climb into the financial system, is when the propaganda for wives to stay at home and marriage is hard, but you got to stick it out. And that propaganda gets going because we still need a free labor force, because we've just now lost the one that we were using before, and the cheap labor is starting to disappear as well. So it's very important all of a sudden that women continue to be that free labor force. The gaslighting is completely and utterly intentional to keep the system of an economy going that relies on free labor and enriches many people at the top.